Hey y'all, how y'all doing out there? I'm back again, y'all. Yeah, y'all haven't seen me for a few days, what, almost a week or so? Because as usual, my camera on my phone was acting up. But I'm back and I'm here to continue on. So, I guess I want to go on with domestic violence. I want to let you know as much as I know and then some. And I believe that last time we left off, I was on myth number 6, MYTH, myth number 6, which is domestic abuse is a private family matter and not a social issue. Now, the reality of that is violence and abuse against women and children incurs high costs for society, hospital treatment, medication, court proceedings, lawyers' fees, imprisonment, and not to mention the psychological and the physical impact on those who experiences it, the victim. So all too often when women disclose their abuse, no one listens to them, and no one asks them what they would like to happen next. So that's why Women's Aid has launched a new approach for domestic abuse survivors and for their children. It's called Change That Lasts. So it places the survivor at the heart and builds responses around her needs and the strengths and resources available to her. So domestic abuse happens every single day all over the world, and it affects women of all ages, classes, and backgrounds. It is a serious, widespread crime. Despite this, Women's Aid and other organizations like them, they are still campaigning to ensure that survivors' voices are heard. So, when we describe domestic abuse as a private family matter, we minimize and condone and we permit it. So, the next time I'm going to come back with myth number 7, because right now I'm going to tell you, just as I was doing this video, it came up on the news about a domestic violence case in Yardley, Pennsylvania. The police were called on a domestic violence call, and they were caught up in a standoff, and a police officer got shot. And statistics say that that's the most highest crime sometimes is the domestic violence calls. Because a lot of the times the police officers also wind up getting hurt, or they wind up in the middle of shoot-offs and things like I just talked about. What about the case where the 4-year-old, if you heard about that one, that found a gun in the house, shot the mom in the head, and killed her? 4 years old. And it's come to find out through the news that the gun belongs to the dad. Now we have the child locks out here. What about those? That's another domestic violence case. So you got to look at all these situations and see where I'm coming from. A lot of times these things are happening around you and you don't even see it for what it is, because it never happened to you, or you think it's not happening to you, or it's just something you may see on TV and then it goes away when the video is over. But no, This stuff is real. And it's now down to the point that not only parents and step-parents are killing the children, grandparents are killing them, the parents, the babies, doing the same thing. It's all domestic abuse. It's all within the family. It's happening more and more and more because people don't want to come to the realization of what's going on. And this picture is much, much bigger than what I'm even talking about. This picture is much bigger. But we just have to open our eyes, I guess. We got to open our eyes, people. So that's why I'm taking the time to go over all this. I could just say, I'm an abuser of domestic violence. It happened so many years ago, and I survived it, and it's still going on, and people be aware. But no, I just want to cover everything until people open their eyes and see what's going on and seeing how serious this is. So maybe I said if I just go into each and every little detail of this, people will begin to understand and see the seriousness of it all. And that's why I'm going to try to cover everything about child molestation, marital abuse, teenage abuse, men when they're being abused, everything. So, I came up with 2 more videos, if anyone's interested. Again, one is where the man is being abused, and the other one is the woman is the victim. I also take my time and I watch these videos also before I suggest that you also watch them. I also watch them myself first, as well as gather up a lot of information, because I guess this is a topic that means so much to me because I'm still here to talk about it. And I imagine this is what they're talking about now on the news. Police chief shot. It just showed up. Let me see. Yardley Borough police chief shot.
Came by to assist those officers, but when the chief knocked on the door, they say the suspect fired a gun, striking Chief Kelly in the hand and ear. The chief is in good condition right now at St. Mary's Medical Center.
He's absolutely extremely lucky to be alive. Never thought that he would encounter a shotgun being pulled and fired at him. This is a small borough, and the chief frequently responds to calls himself. Yes.
We are incredibly grateful, relieved, prayerful that he will survive his injuries and make a recovery.
We will have the latest developments coming up on Eyewitness News at 5. And now to a crash involving a police cruiser in Chester County. It happened this morning on West Kings Highway near Creamery Road in West Palm Township. A landscaping truck.
I thought they were going to talk about it this time, but it'll be on later on. I guess like the 5 o'clock news here, so. But yes, y'all. So, I came up with 2 more videos, and like I said, I watched it myself before I suggest you to watch them. This one is Men Don't Tell by No More. No more violence. No more lies. The other one, where the woman is the victim, is called Suburban Mother's Nightmare, Caught on Tape, / The Oprah Winfrey Show, Part 2. Now, if I can come across Part 1, I'll put that one up for you also. And also, once again, the national hotline number for domestic violence, the national abuse hotline number is 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. So those are two more videos, and you can find them on YouTube. And if you're interested, and these are true events and true acts of violence. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about childhood sexual abuse. And childhood sexual abuse is any sexual contact between an adult and a child, and it's defined as touching with the intention of sexually arousing the child or providing sexual arousal for the offending partner, such as kissing by one whose purpose is like touching, fondling of the genitals or other parts of the body in a sexual or prolonged manner, overt sexual contact, such as oral genital contact or manual stimulation of genitals or intercourse. It's any behavior that is intended to stimulate the child sexually or to sexually stimulate the abusing person through the use of the child, including showing the child or children erotic materials, photographing the child in a sexual manner, or talking sexually to the child. It's sexual contact by a person that is in an older developmental age, a person that is much older than that child. So even children in the same developmental stage can experience the act of abusive if physically emotional harm is inflicted or used as coercion. So what are the long-term effects of childhood sexual abuse? So there are indisputable long-term negative effects to child sexual abuse for many, if not most victims. Such problems as eating disorders, substance abuse, and sexual dysfunction. Some of the most common consequences are guilt, shame, re-victimization, diminished self-esteem, depression, relationship difficulties, and or other types of disorders. So this does not mean that every child who has experienced abuse will necessarily experience these symptoms. But however, there's ample evidence that sexual abuse is damaging and warrants intensive and specialized intervention to stop the abuse and to aid in the recovery. So even compliant victims who believe that they have consented to the sexual contact are likely to be negatively affected. And since children must trust and rely on adults and they're older than them to keep them safe, they rely and trust on people that are older than them to keep them safe. So being asked to participate in activities that are inappropriate for their age and their stage of development is a violation of their trust and their well-being, even if they comply. So child sexual abuse is also called child molestation. It is a form of child abuse in which an adult or an older adolescent uses a child for sexual stimulation. So it can occur in a variety of settings, including the home, the school, the work, and in places where child labor is common. It can occur in the church. It can occur in the school bathroom. It can occur right in front of your face if you're not aware. And that's why I never allowed my children to sit on men's laps. And as for me, I can't speak for other people or other parents, but I never allowed, if it were to happen, to let the father or any man or even woman to kiss my children on the lips. I didn't see no reason for that. And I didn't allow them to sit on men's laps or accept money, candy, and all those things. All those things lead to other things. You gotta watch them. You gotta be careful. You gotta pay attention. Especially if you're around a man who's always paying way more attention to the kids than he's paying to the grown people. There could be a few kids in one room and a group of adults in another, but that person is always in that room with them kids. Pay attention. Or you see them creeping out of the daughter's bedroom. Oh, I was just making sure she was asleep, or I was just making sure she was okay. I gotta pay attention. But y'all, I'm just glad to be back. And I'm gonna bring back more as it goes along. And like I said before, if you don't see me, it's only because they're trying to hold me down. But I'm gonna rise back up. You know how if you kick a horse in the leg, that leg fall under and it fall, but hurry up and get back up. That's Shaida. So y'all, I just want y'all to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be notified of another video. Peace.